Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we're going to be using a Pokemon that I've been grinding for quite a while, and I was very excited to make it, and that's Dragalge. With I currently have Dragon Tail, Air Rage, and Aqua Tail on it, and then I'm pairing that with Reggie and Talonflame. Obviously, two extremely strong Pokemon, but the logic behind this is that the biggest weakness that I have, based off the moves that I have, is Alolan Ninetales. So two really hard answers. Two Alolan Ninetales. Unfortunately, I did 20 battles. I went 15 and 5. I'm gonna be showing off the two sets where I went 10 and 0. I start off 3 and 2, then 2 and 3, trying to get used to the matchups with Dragalge. And then I actually went on a 12 game win streak. But the final 10 games was over the course of the last two sets, obviously. And so, obviously, the logic here is to protect against A9, but I didn't face any A9s. Maybe that's the meta, maybe it's the ranking I'm in. Who really knows? I do like Dragalge, but it does struggle in more matchups than I want. Like, you think it would have a pretty clean Talonflame matchup, considering it does resist Incinerate and Flame Charge, and as well has super effective Aqua Tail. But the Aqua Tail is such a weak move, and in Ultra League, like the Talonflame can just eat the Aqua Tail pretty easily, and the Brave Bird actually almost like puts Dragalge really low. So I think this team's okay. Maybe I would swap out Reggie for like Politoed, though Reggie was really nice on this team. But I think there were some instances where I would swap it out with a Blizzard Politoed. But let's go ahead and get started with the matches. So we have Dragalge versus Drapion. This is okay here. This is actually a good matchup. I do sneak in. I don't really sneak in extra one. They just threw at 5, so I got 2 free turns there. And the crunch does quite a bit of damage. It's because I was able to get those 2 free turns. I'm able to get to that rage and at least threaten it. And I bait them with the Aqua Tail, and I get another Dragon Tail through on the turn there. So that was me sneaking move in that instance. So they come into Cresselia. So this is a very good matchup there. Pretty interesting team comp. I did expect this Cresselia to have Grass Knot, but ended up having Future Sight. It might have like Future Sight Grass Knot, since it is their safe switch Cresselia. So I wouldn't be surprised by that, because I think they throw straight a Future Sight at me. So I was expecting them to have like a hard Swampert answer in the back, besides Cresselia, if this Cresselia does indeed have Grass Knot. So it does do quite a bit of damage. So actually what I do here is actually I build up to 100 energy. They do Future Sight. I build up to 100 energy, and then I switch to Talonflame to try to get a little bit of extra energy. They actually come straight back into Drapion. Very interesting. I let this go. I wasn't sure if I could KO with 2 Incinerates. And they actually throw. I got a little confused here because I thought I miscounted, but they actually throw the Aqua Tail here. So nice play by the opponent. I'm not sure what they were necessarily going with by throwing the crunch first, but it worked out to be about the same anyway. So they do come into Regirock, which is extremely problematic for me. They make a very interesting call here by shielding this Brave Bird. It is boosted. And they actually come into Cresselia. It's actually pretty good for me. Actually, I'm not entirely sure why I didn't go into Reggie in that instance, because I do have a Focus Blast banked, and this game's over because I have a Focus Blast banked. They would literally have to like undercharge the perfect amount and then be able to exit the matchup with a Focus Blast, because they would win CMP versus my Reggie. But since they didn't, I'm going to be able to throw this Focus Blast and take out this Regirock. And it does do quite a bit of damage. So the opposing team was kind of weird. They were very weak to G-Fist. The Aqua Tail made sense for the G-Fist matchup, and they're also weak to Swampert. But that's all right. So teams can't cover everything. I do really like Shadow Drapion in Ultra League, so in Open Ultra. So go Berserker. I decided to go Reggie because I can live a close combat. And as well, I want to bait out the potential like Talonflame counter. They actually bait me with Foul Play, which is pretty interesting. I do throw the Focus Blast. And technically, I could shield this and be able to outpace, but I decided to not shield it because I'm actually not 100% sure the Focus Blast does KO. They actually come into Giratina, which is actually perfectly okay for me. I'm going to throw a Zap Cannon at their Giratina. Does obviously resist it, but still chunks a pretty good amount. I'm going to let this go and then look to switch out into Dragalge right away. And hopefully they basically threw at 4 there. So they should need 5 more. So I should get, or 4 more. So I should get, again, so there you go. I get, it was 5 more. So I do get an extra Dragon Tail there. So they need 4 more. So as long as I can feint them in 3 Dragon Tails and I go for it, and I am able to feint them, I do throw the Aqua Tail, and then I'm going to throw another Dragon Tail and then another Aqua Tail. So at 3 Aqua Tails, it should come pretty close to KOing. So I'm going to be able to apply some really good shield pressure. And 1 more. And this should draw the shield or put the Berserker at super low health that they would have to throw. They actually come into Clefable, which is why they didn't come in the back. And it makes sense to have the Clefable in the back because it does cover for the fighting weakness. But unfortunately for them, I do have Talonflame, and they were very weak to Talonflame outside the Giratina. All right. And I have Dragalge into Giratina. This is a very awkward situation for me here. I am doing super effective damage with these Dragon Tails, but Giratina is so bulky and so spammy that it's unfortunately very annoying for me. They do get the move here. I'm going to let this go. Honestly, I baited here, and I kind of regret it, to be honest. Yeah, I kind of regret this baiting because first off, they shield, and as well, I'm not necessarily sure what landing the Aqua Tail does for me anyways. Maybe it puts them into, Flash Cannon range. So here comes Swampert, obviously extremely bad for me. I do throw the Focus Blast at this Swampert. And my only play here is to call some baits. So I just let this go. Presuming that they're going to... actually, no, I do shield. So what am I talking about? It was actually a different match. So I throw the Focus Blast at this Swampert. I'm able to draw the shield. And they actually believed... I believe they go to 100 here. They go to 100. So I'm looking to count to 5. They actually come early, and then they actually throw the Dragon Claw here, which is pretty interesting. Kind of wish I took it on Reggie, but that's quite all right. They do end up landing the Dragon Claw, and they actually get to 3 here. And then we had a very close matchup in the end. This is actually a really good game. I'm going to be able to survive this. And I'm going to be able to just barely incinerate down. I'm just going to Brave Bird. Whatever comes in ends up being the Swampert. I really hope this is CMP, but they actually end up letting it go. And they do incinerate me down. So I'm very close to the Zap Cannon. Honestly, I probably should have thrown... no, this is fine. So I'm going to be able to live the next Flame Charge. So they're 1 over, and looks like I'm only 4 lock-ons away. As long as I'm 4 lock-ons away, I'm going to be able to land the Zap Cannon. I make a little bit of a dangerous play here because they actually have the move here, but I decide to switch and hoping that they don't undertap, and I'm able to land the Dragon Tail because they were trying to incinerate down Registeel. Okay, so very nice win there against a really tough backline, and honestly, a pretty tough team composition in general. So they come in Meganium. So Meganium can actually win this. As crazy it is, can actually win the one shield. So if they are able to bait or land the EQ successfully. So I do throw the Zap Cannon. This is actually a really, really good matchup for Registeel. So I do Zap Cannon just to reduce the damage. They do throw the Aeroblast, which obviously is a big damage move, but Registeel super tanky, and plus the Zap Cannon took a little bit oomph out of that. So I do go to 100. They actually throw the Sky Attack here just to get some chip damage, which makes sense. And I do throw the Focus Blast. I decide to completely undercharge it. They should just barely survive it. And I'm able to lock on down this Lugia right before they make it to another Sky Attack. Not that the Sky Attack was a big deal. And I do throw the Focus Blast, which does around 50% to the Meganium. Very nice damage. And also, this is probably not even an XL Meganium. So actually, maybe I would win the one shield versus the Meganium. They do throw the EQ. Probably live the Frenzy anyway. So they come into Walrein. And this is definitely GG. 2 shield. Talonflame easily wins against the Walrein. So especially with such a big energy advantage. So really, Meganium had like some decent play against my lead and Reggie, but honestly, it was a pretty good situation regardless. I debate whether I should switch here. Obviously, not very very long. I debate. I should have thrown the Focus Blast right away, but I figured that they're gonna Zap Cannon since the shield is somewhat likely. I do throw the Focus Blast, which they end up no shielding. And then surprisingly, we have a very similar amount of health. And they come into Surfetch, and I throw the Zap Cannon at the Surfetch. They probably didn't necessarily need to shield that, but it worked out fine for me. And very nice timing on their side, because they certainly would have made it to the Focus Blast. They end up Night Slashing, so I presume that they'd have no Brave Bird. And this is just enough for the Night Slash. So I'm going to let it go. The Night Slash, no boost, thankfully. And they reach another move here, which I end up letting go. And then I think I throw one Aqua Tail, then throw the move. And I should be able to easily farm down. As long as they can't survive 2 Dragon Tails, which there's really no chance if they don't shield. They actually come into Registeel here. Very interesting. And a little bit problematic for me. I should have did one more Incinerate here. I just was like too worried they were going to get to the move. So a Flame Charge. And they actually come into Swampert. Very interesting situation for me. I do shield this. And then I actually choose to bait. And I'm able to get the bait with this shield because I guess it's like I'm actually at a neutral state. They get the move off. And I actually thought this was going to KO me. So I was ready to switch into Dragalge. And they actually decide to transfer the Incinerate to Surfetch. Or maybe they're trying to catch there. But unfortunately for them, I'm able to land the Brave Bird and take out the Swampert. So that worked out really nicely for me. All right, I believe this is the second set here. So the Gyarados is very bad for me. So I'm actually not entirely sure why I switched into Registeel, because that's really my only Gyarados answer. But I do land the Focus Blast, and this is actually not that bad matchup for Reggie, especially since I have XL Reggie. It's actually rank 112, and then my Dragalge's rank 74 out of including the best buddies, and then my Talonflame is rank 1 non-best buddy, so the 100%. So they do land the Cross Chop, but I'm in a very good spot here. I do land the Focus Blast. And I actually decide that I want to bait out the Gyarados. So I switch here. I switch lock my Dragalge, because I'd rather the Gyarados come into my Dragalge than come into my Talonflame later. At least I'm able to hit for neutral damage, even if I'm taking super effective damage. I do shield this, and I'm able to actually get then another move through there. so which is really nice for me. Able to land the outrage. I actually think they barely survive. Yeah, they do barely survive, but they don't get that much damage off. And really nice counting on my opponent's side. I'm gonna let this go. And I'm actually able to survive and get this Aqua Tail off, which is actually really huge for me because it does allow me to potentially incinerate down this. So here comes Muck. Actually lagged a little bit there, so I actually meant to throw the Brave Bird sooner, but it actually worked out a little bit better for me because this also then forces the Muck to throw a move. They end up throwing the Dark Pulse, and they actually undercharge there very nicely, and they're able to farm me down. And they survive with just like a little bit of HP. I do shield this because the Dark Pulse would do more than the Night Slash, but they end up throwing the Acid Spray, but it doesn't matter. They need to land 2 moves anyways. I'd survive a Night Slash regardless, and I'm going to be able to land the Brave Bird and take out the Obstagoon. Okay, very nicely done. Yeah, so I do like Dragalge, but again, I guess Walrein is also a little bit problematic for this team. It's not crazy bad for Reggie, but it's certainly a challenging matchup. They come into Swampert. So again, this Swampert, they actually come into Lapras, and this is looking okay for me. I actually thought about going to Talonflame there, but I checked what Pokemon it was going to be, and I do Zap Cannon right away. And they're definitely over farming. I think they're looking to CMP tie me to the second move. So they throw right here, which would have been a CMP tie, so I didn't actually end up throwing. I think I do like 2 or 3 more lock-ons, then throw the I throw the Focus Blast, and actually no bubble this Focus Blast to be able to farm it down afterwards and get closer to the Focus Blast versus this Swampert. And the Swampert ends up no shielding this Focus Blast, which is actually really huge for me because, again, Dragalge has a very iffy matchup against Swampert. And nice counting by my opponent. They basically maxed out their energy, but I'm in a decent spot here. And they come into I thought about what to do here, but honestly, I'm like, I'm just going to sack Talonflame. There's really I don't really need Talonflame. I'm just going to use this to get as much chip damage off on this Guillotine as possible. So I throw the Flame Charge, and the opponent makes a really nice call by no shielding. And I just want as much damage as possible with this Talonflame. I decide to undertap the Flame Charge rather than go for the Brave Bird, because I would prefer them not to shield, but they do end up shielding. And it's very close on whether or not I would make another move. Honestly, they probably could have farmed me down, so I probably should have lost this game. They have a lot of energy. I have to take at least 1 here. I'm going to have to shield the next one, unfortunately, because the Aqua Tail doesn't quite KO at this range. So I do have to shield this. And I thought about whether I should farm down, and maybe the farm down was the correct play. Yeah, it probably was the correct play because I don't think they live another Dragon Tail. I was afraid if they live that Dragon Tail, then they get another Claw. And I make a dumb play here by trying to throw on sync because I thought they were going to make it to the move. But I end up getting the desync CMP right here, which ended up being like really huge for me because I'm pretty sure Swampert wins CMP over Dragalge. So that ends up being really, really huge. Really fortunate for me that the game mechanics played out like that. I think we have like 2 or 3 more matches. These Ultra League matches are super long, and play against a very good battler here in Hedonis. And they actually have Shadow Machamp. So my team is pretty good against Shadow Machamp. I actually come into Gliscor, which is a problematic Pokemon for my team. I don't really have a clear answer. They actually no shield the Gliscor. And I thought I was catching a Q, but he ends up baiting here. And very nice timing doing the two wing attacks and throwing the move. So at like 7 right now. Okay, no, it's a little bit more than 7. They do another Night Slash, but I do end up surviving it. And I end up Brave Birding in this situation. I think his hope was that I was going to Flame Charge the Machamp, but I ended up Brave Birding it. And they come into Trevenant. And at this point in time, I'm just going to Zap Cannon this Trevenant as much as possible. I really don't need this Registeel. I just need it for the debuff. He actually ends up shielding this the move, which makes sense as well because it could have been a Flash Cannon, and as well I need to get to the Outrage with Dragalge, which is not necessarily easy. And I end up no shielding this because I figured I would actually survive the Shadow Ball, still making the move, and he ends up throwing the Seed Bomb. And I throw another Flash Cannon. And I'm just gonna stay at this point in time, force him to throw Shadow Ball, or else I'll make it to another move. And if I make it to another move, then he'll just get Dragon Tail down. He ends up Shadow Balling. I actually end up surviving the Shadow Ball, but this game's over, and he realizes that, so ends up top lefting. Honestly, my team was pretty bad for his, so not too much they can do. I do like the Shadow Gliscor. It was a very interesting pick, a very difficult pick for most teams to deal with. Dragalge into Venusaur. This is a very good lead. And when the Venusaur stayed, I actually thought about whether or not I should switch. Because they might be really weak to in the back, but they actually come into Wall Rain. And this is okay for me. I end up letting go this EQ. Not too fussed about this EQ. I throw the Zap Cannon. They end up surviving, just okay. I actually prefer not to. I prefer them to throw the EQ here, so I can farm down with Talonflame. But they end up baiting, so I end up throwing another. I end up throwing another move, which ends up being the Focus Blast. And here comes Talonflame. I decide to come into Dragalge because no point in getting farmed down. And I make a questionable call here. Maybe this is okay because I figured that they were gonna. Well, okay, it was unlikely that they were going to. A Brave Bird there, but they could also switch. So, but this ends up being a pretty okay situation. I was almost for sure that this was a Flame Charge, but I figured it didn't really matter too much because I'm going to be able to reach 2 Aqua Tails before they reach the Brave Bird, or even another move because they're dry at this point in time. So I throw the Aqua Tail, and then one more Dragon Tail, and get to the Aqua Tail. I'm able to take out the Talonflame. And I believe, is that the last match? Or looks like I have one more according to the video length here. It's been a very short match. Okay, well, we're gonna find out in a moment or so. All right. We have Dragalge into Poliwrath. Kind of a very weird Pokemon for me to deal with. I end up getting the not necessarily extra Dragon Tail because they throw it 5, so I end up getting 2 free turns. So they do beat me to the move because they only need 4 for the second one. I let this go because I figured I was going to be able to survive. And I throw the Outrage, which I think they end up shielding. Then I switch to Talonflame because I didn't want to get farmed down. And they actually come into Ampharos. So this is interesting. I do end up getting like a really good timed Flame Charge. They let this go. And this is okay. So they have enough for they definitely have enough for 2 Thunder Punches. I end up getting the Incinerate through, which is pretty insane there, and get another Incinerate through, and this is I get like 10 free turns there, which is pretty insane. And they come into Poliwrath. I do have to throw at them, and then I think I immediately swap into Registeel just because I am debuffed. And they come into Berserker, and this is definitely a GG right here. So Talonflame ended up being pretty well. I guess they had Ampharos, so I was very fortunate to get. I actually only need 1 Incinerate to go through to be able to win out the match, but it worked out perfectly for me. So my thoughts on Dragalge. I think it's a strong Pokemon, but I do think there are other Pokemon that are better, like Swampert and like Swampert answers than Dragalge. It definitely struggled in a lot of matchups, but had a lot of fun, had a lot of success. Ended up going on a 12-game winning streak to end my sets on stream. And let me know down in the comment section below what other Pokemon I should be trying in Open Ultra League. It's one of my most favorite metas to play in. And I'm going to leave there. If you like, so like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video.